Have you ever looked at a place and thought, this can't be real? As if the landscape had been created with CGI or pulled straight out of a dream? Today, we're going to cross deserts that look like giant mirrors, explore cities carved into cliffs, walk through ancient forests, and soar above mountains that defy the very logic of nature. Every destination in this video is officially recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, yet each one could easily belong in a science fiction film. These are settings so breathtaking that they make us question the limits of our own planet. Get ready for a 4K journey through 30 places that seem impossible, but are real. Take a deep breath, turn up the resolution, and discover how the real world can be more extraordinary than anything imagination could create.
Imagine hundreds of massive stone pillars rising vertically through the mist, as if suspended in midair. This isn't a fantasy scene, it's Zhangjiajie, in China's Henan province. More than 3,000 sandstone formations appear to burst from the earth toward the sky, some soaring over 200 meters high. The landscape became world famous for inspiring the mountains of Pandora in the film Avatar. But here, there's no CGI, just millions of years of erosion sculpting rock into slender, dramatic towers. When fog blankets the valleys, the peaks look like islands floating in a white sea, creating an almost supernatural atmosphere. Walking along its pathways or crossing the glass bridge suspended over the canyon feels like stepping into another dimension. Zhangjiajie doesn't just look like a natural park, it feels like proof that nature is the greatest artist on Earth. High in the Andes, wrapped in clouds and mystery, stands a city that remained hidden from the world for centuries. Machu Picchu feels impossible, not only because of its beauty, but because of its location. At more than 2,400 meters above sea level, surrounded by steep peaks and deep valleys, it defies any 15th century construction logic. Built by the Inca Empire, the city was assembled with perfectly fitted stone blocks without the use of mortar. To this day, scholars still wonder how tons of rock were transported and shaped with such precision on such rugged terrain. Even more astonishing, the structure has withstood earthquakes for over 500 years. When the sun rises and slowly illuminates the agricultural terraces and stone temples, it feels like witnessing a sacred stage suspended between sky and earth. It's not just a historical ruin, it's a testament to human genius in harmony with nature. Machu Picchu doesn't feel real. It feels like an ancient secret that time chose to preserve. Hidden among reddish mountains in the Jordanian desert lies a city that wasn't built, it was carved. Petra appears like a mirage after passing through the narrow canyon known as the Sick. Suddenly, between the rocks, the monumental facade of the treasury emerges, carved directly into stone more than 2,000 years ago. Created by the Nabateans, Petra was a major trade hub between East and West. But what truly astonishes is its desert engineering. Sophisticated hydraulic systems captured and stored rainwater, allowing a civilization to thrive amid extreme aridity. The hues of the rock shift throughout the day, from soft pink to deep red, making the city seem alive. At night, illuminated by hundreds of candles, the setting takes on an almost mystical aura. Petra isn't just an archaeological site, it's a masterpiece carved by human hands and guarded by time. A place that feels as though it stepped out of an ancient legend. There is a place on Earth where sky and ground become indistinguishable, where you can no longer tell where the horizon ends. That place is the Salar de Uyuni, the largest salt flat on the planet. During the dry season, it looks like a vast, solid white ocean stretching across more than 10,000 square kilometers, an absolute emptiness, almost extraterrestrial. But during the rainy season, magic happens. A thin layer of water covers the salt, transforming the desert into the largest natural mirror in the world. The reflection is so perfect that cars appear to float. People seem to walk on clouds, and the sunset duplicates itself before your eyes. It feels like a dream, or another planet entirely. Formed from the evaporation of ancient prehistoric lakes, the Salar also holds one of the world's largest lithium reserves beneath its white surface. Uyuni isn't just a breathtaking landscape. It's a place where reality dissolves and the impossible takes shape. From a distance, it looks like a snow-covered mountain rising in the middle of a warm region of Turkey. But Pamukkale isn't ice. It's white limestone shaped by water over thousands of years. Its name means Cotton Castle, and the image fits perfectly. Natural cascading terraces flow down the hillside, forming shallow pools of delicate blue. The mineral-rich thermal waters trickle slowly and solidify the calcium deposits, creating a landscape that seems frozen in time. Since antiquity, people have visited the site seeking the therapeutic properties of its waters. Beside the pools stand the ancient Greco-Roman ruins of Hierapolis, where historic remains blend with the intense white of the natural scenery. Walking barefoot across the terraces feels like stepping on solid clouds. The contrast between the blue sky, the translucent water, and the absolute white creates an almost surreal sensation. Pamukkale doesn't seem like part of our world. It feels like a celestial setting sculpted drop by nature itself.
At first glance, it looks like an endless desert. White dunes stretch as far as the eye can see, shaped by the wind into smooth, perfect curves. But Lençóis Maranhenses holds a secret that completely transforms the landscape. During the rainy months, water gathers in the valleys between the dunes, forming lagoons in shades of turquoise blue and emerald green. The contrast is so striking, it looks digitally enhanced. Flower-white sand and crystal-clear natural pools in the middle of nowhere. What's most surprising is that this isn't a traditional desert. The region receives abundant rainfall, allowing this rare phenomenon to occur. For a few months each year, fish appear in the lagoons, carried by underground rivers and natural cycles still studied by scientists. Seen from above, the landscape resembles crumpled white bedsheets, which is how it got its name. Walking there feels like crossing an ocean of sand dotted with temporary oases. Lençóis Maranhenses doesn't seem real. It feels like a seasonal miracle that nature reveals only to those who arrive at the right time.
Imagine a valley filled with stone towers in improbable shapes, like giant chimneys carved by invisible forces. Cappadocia looks like a lunar landscape, but with a human touch that makes it even more fascinating. Over millions of years, volcanic eruptions blanketed the region with ash that eventually hardened into a soft rock called tuff. Wind and rain did the rest, shaping columns, caves, and forms that seemed lifted from a fantasy tale. But what's most remarkable is that people chose to inhabit these formations. Ancient civilizations carved homes, churches, and even entire underground cities into the rock. Some of them descended several levels below ground, serving as refuge during times of invasion. At sunrise, dozens of colorful hot air balloons slowly rise into the sky, revealing one of the most iconic views in the world. From above, the golden, undulating terrain looks like a distant planet. Cappadocia is not just a landscape. It's a surreal meeting point between the force of nature and human creativity. Imagine monasteries built atop towering rock pillars that rise abruptly from the ground, like natural spires reaching for the sky. Meteora in Greece is exactly that, a complex of religious buildings balanced on rock formations that seem impossible to access. These giant sandstone columns were shaped by millions of years of erosion. In the 14th century, Orthodox monks decided this would be the perfect refuge, isolated from the world, closer to the divine. To reach them, they once relied on ropes, suspended baskets, and removable ladders. Today, stairways carved into the rock allow access, but the sense of height remains breathtaking. From above, the view reveals a sea of rock formations scattered across the plain of Thessaly. Morning mist creates the illusion that the monasteries are floating above the clouds. Meteora doesn't just feel like an architectural achievement, it feels like a defiance of gravity and proof of how far human faith and determination can go.
There is a place on Earth that seems to have stopped in time or evolved along a completely different path from the rest of the planet. Socotra Island in the Indian Ocean is so unique that many call it the Galápagos of the Middle East. Geographic isolation for millions of years allowed extraordinary species to emerge. The most famous is the dragon's blood tree, with its upside-down umbrella-shaped crown. When cut, it releases a deep red sap as if it were truly bleeding. The sight is so unusual that the landscape feels like science fiction. Nearly a third of the island's plant life exists nowhere else in the world. Between dunes, limestone mountains, and untouched beaches, the biodiversity creates an almost extraterrestrial environment. The silence, the constant wind, and the exotic shapes of the trees intensify the feeling of being on another planet. Socotra is not just remote, it's a reminder of how nature can take unpredictable paths and create worlds that challenge our imagination.
Beneath the blue surface of the Pacific Ocean lies a universe that looks hand-painted. The Great Barrier Reef is the largest coral reef system on the planet, so vast it can be seen from space. Stretching over 2,000 kilometers, it's a mosaic of vibrant colors, organic shapes, and life pulsing through every inch. Corals that resemble flowers, neon-colored fish, sea turtles gliding gracefully, and rays drifting like soft shadows through the water. What many people don't realize is that corals are living organisms, tiny creatures that over thousands of years built this immense limestone structure. From above, the reef draws patterns of turquoise blue and emerald green against the deep ocean. Underwater, it feels like entering a submerged city in constant motion. But this paradise is fragile. Rising ocean temperatures threaten the delicate balance of the ecosystem, making its preservation more urgent than ever. The Great Barrier Reef doesn't seem real. It feels like a submerged dream, vibrant, delicate, and absolutely extraordinary. At the northernmost edge of Brazil, on the triple border with Venezuela and Guyana, rises a mountain that looks like it belongs to a lost world. Mount Roraima is a tepui, a flat-topped rock formation with sheer vertical cliffs that rise abruptly from the Amazon rainforest. Standing at about 2,800 meters above sea level, its summit is often wrapped in dense clouds, deepening its aura of mystery. Over millions of years, erosion isolated the mountaintop, creating a unique ecosystem filled with carnivorous plants, wind-sculpted rock formations, and small pools of crystal-clear water. The landscape is so surreal that it inspired tales of hidden worlds, including the novel The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. Walking across Roraima's summit feels like exploring a prehistoric plateau where time follows a different logic. Dark stones contrast against the white misty sky, and the silence is broken only by the constant wind. Mount Roraima doesn't just feel remote. It feels like a fragment of another planet resting in the heart of South America. Imagine a rocky island rising on the horizon like a fairy tale castle, surrounded by a vast stretch of sand that disappears beneath the tide. That is Mont Saint-Michel in Normandy, France, a place where nature and architecture seem perfectly choreographed. At the top of the island, the medieval abbey stands tall, its towers and ramparts reaching toward the sky. For centuries, pilgrims crossed the flooded plains to reach it, guided by faith and the unpredictable rhythm of the tides, among the strongest in Europe. When the tide rises, the island transforms completely, encircled by water and reflected like a mirror in its natural surroundings. When it recedes, it reveals an almost lunar landscape of wet sand and open sky. At night, illuminated against the darkness, Mont Saint-Michel appears to float, like a vision lifted from a medieval dream. It's not just a historic monument, it's a natural and human spectacle in perfect harmony, a place that seems to exist between two worlds. Deep in the heart of Vietnam's jungle lies a cave so massive it defies any sense of scale. Son Doong isn't just a cave. It's considered the largest in the world by volume. Its interior is so vast, it could house entire skyscrapers. Officially discovered only in 2009, the cave remained isolated for millions of years. In some sections, the ceiling collapsed naturally, allowing sunlight to stream in and create a breathtaking phenomenon, an entire forest growing inside the cave itself. Underground rivers carve through its interior, giant stalagmites rise like stone towers, and constant humidity forms internal clouds that resemble private mist within this hidden world. Walking through Son Doong feels like exploring a subterranean planet where nature built a colossal cathedral in absolute silence. It doesn't feel real. It feels like a secret universe that remained invisible to humanity until just a few years ago. In southern Jordan, a sea of red sand stretches between sandstone mountains sculpted by the wind. Wadi Rum feels less like a desert and more like the surface of Mars. It's no coincidence that it has served as the backdrop for numerous films portraying other planets. Rock formations rise abruptly from the ground, with natural arches, narrow canyons, and towering cliffs that shift color throughout the day, from intense gold to deep crimson. The silence is nearly absolute. Only the sound of wind sweeping across the Ramal breaks the vastness. Inhabited for thousands of years by nomadic peoples, the desert holds ancient petroglyphs and stories connected to T.E. Lawrence, who crossed these landscapes during World War I. At night, the spectacle continues. Far from any major city, the sky becomes a blanket of stars, with the Milky Way visible to the naked eye. Wadi Rum is not just a desert, it's a sensory experience that makes you feel as if you've left Earth while still standing on it. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, about 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador, lies an archipelago that forever changed the way we understand life on Earth. The Galápagos Islands feel like a natural laboratory, isolated from the world, where species evolved in unique and astonishing ways. It was here that Charles Darwin observed finches with different beaks on each island, a discovery that would help shape the theory of evolution. But it's not just the birds that amaze. Giant tortoises, capable of living more than 100 years, move slowly across volcanic landscapes. Marine iguanas dive into the ocean to feed, something extremely rare among reptiles. The contrast is striking. Fields of black lava, white sand beaches, and incredibly transparent waters teeming with life. Sea lions rest in the sun, unafraid of human presence. The Galapagos aren't just a travel destination, they feel like a living chapter of the planet's natural history, a place where nature followed its own rules and created a world apart. In the heart of Croatia lies a landscape that seems painted in impossible shades of blue and green. Plitvice Lakes National Park is a natural labyrinth of interconnected lakes linked by crystal-clear waterfalls, creating a spectacle that shifts color with the daylight. There are 16 main lakes connected by dozens of cascades, flowing over natural barriers of limestone and moss. Most remarkable of all, these formations continue to grow slowly, shaped by the minerals in the water. The landscape is alive, literally in constant transformation. Wooden walkways wind over the transparent waters, allowing visitors to walk almost at lake level. Fish swim beneath your feet, while the sound of waterfalls creates a hypnotic natural soundtrack. In autumn, the contrast between golden leaves and the intense blue of the lakes feels surreal. In winter, parts of the falls freeze, transforming the park into an almost magical setting. Plitvice doesn't feel like just a national park. It feels like an enchanted world hidden among European mountains. On the banks of the Yamuna River rises one of the most recognized monuments on Earth, and one of the most moving. The Taj Mahal captivates not only with its perfect symmetry or the white marble that seems to glow under the sun. It captivates because of the story it carries. Built in the 17th century by Emperor Shah Jahan, the mausoleum was a tribute to his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. More than 20,000 artisans worked on its construction, carving delicate details and inlaying precious stones into translucent marble. As the day unfolds, the Taj Mahal changes color. At dawn, soft pink tones. Under the midday sun, an almost blinding white. At night, under moonlight, it appears to float in the darkness. The symmetry is so precise that its reflection in the garden's pools doubles its grandeur. Every arch, every geometric detail was designed to create absolute harmony. The Taj Mahal isn't just a building. It feels like poetry in stone, proof that love can be transformed into eternal architecture. In the middle of the Cambodian jungle, stone towers rise among towering trees and roots that seem to embrace the ruins. Angkor Wat is not just a temple, it is the largest religious complex in the world, a monumental creation that appears both swallowed and protected by the forest. Built in the 12th century by the Khmer Empire, the temple was originally dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu and later transformed into a Buddhist temple. Its carved bas-reliefs stretch across kilometers of walls, telling mythological stories as if they were pages written in stone. At sunrise, the 5 main towers reflect in the pools before the temple, forming a perfectly symmetrical silhouette. The soft morning mist makes the scene even more mysterious. Walking through its corridors is to feel the weight of history in every detail. The massive trees that have grown between the structures give the impression that nature is trying to reclaim what was once human. Angkor Wat doesn't just feel ancient, it feels eternal, a lost kingdom silently resisting the passage of centuries. In the heart of the United States lies a place where the Earth itself seems alive. Yellowstone is not just a national park, it is one of the largest geothermal systems on the planet. Here, the ground breathes, bubbles, and releases steam as if we were witnessing the inner workings of the Earth. Geysers erupt, launching jets of boiling water dozens of meters into the air. Hot springs glow in vibrant colors, deep blue, intense orange, nearly fluorescent yellow, created by microorganisms that survive in extreme temperatures. Beneath this extraordinary landscape rests a dormant supervolcano, responsible for shaping the terrain hundreds of thousands of years ago. Crystal-clear lakes, dense forests, and vast plains complete the scene where bison and elk roam freely. Yellowstone feels like a natural laboratory where we can observe the planet's primordial forces in action. It is raw, powerful, and at the same time breathtakingly beautiful. It doesn't feel like just a park, it feels like the Earth in its wildest and most original state. On a silent plain in southern England, enormous stone blocks form an enigmatic circle that has defied explanation for thousands of years. Stonehenge may seem simple at first glance, but the longer you look, the more mysterious it becomes. Some of the stones weigh over 25 tons and were transported from distant regions long before the invention of the wheel in Britain. How prehistoric peoples moved and positioned these massive blocks with such precision remains a subject of debate. Its alignment with the summer solstice reveals remarkable astronomical knowledge. On the longest day of the year, the sun rises perfectly aligned with the main structure, illuminating the center of the circle. At dawn, wrapped in mist, the monument feels like an ancient portal, as if marking the boundary between the known world and something beyond. Stonehenge is not just a collection of stones, it is a symbol of human ingenuity and mystery, an open question etched into the landscape more than 4,000 years ago. Symmetrical, imposing, and almost perfectly shaped, Mount Fuji rises as an eternal symbol of Japan. At 3,776 meters tall, it is the highest point in the country and one of the most iconic volcanoes in the world. For much of the year, its summit remains covered in snow, creating a striking contrast against blue skies or the cherry blossoms of spring. Fuji's silhouette is so harmonious, it seems drawn with ruler and compass. Yet behind its beauty lies immense power. Fuji is an active volcano whose last eruption occurred in the early 18th century. Even so, it has become a sacred site, inspiring artists, poets, and pilgrims for centuries. At sunrise, as light slowly touches its slopes, the mountain seems to change color from deep blue to soft gold. Mount Fuji is not just a mountain. It feels like a living painting where nature, spirituality, and aesthetics meet in perfect harmony. Imagine an entire city built on water, where streets are canals and cars give way to boats. Venice doesn't just feel different, it feels impossible. Built on hundreds of small islands in the Venetian lagoon, the city rests on millions of wooden piles driven deep into the muddy ground, creating a surprisingly stable foundation over the centuries. Renaissance palaces, ornate churches, and historic bridges line the canals, reflected in the calm waters. St. Mark's Square, with its imposing basilica and towering campanile dominating the skyline, enhances the feeling of stepping into another era. At sunset, when golden light touches the ancient facades, Venice seems to float. Yet there is fragility as well. The city faces rising sea levels and the phenomenon known as acqua alta, when tides flood streets and squares. Venice is not just a romantic destination, it is an architectural miracle that defies logic, a city that proved humanity can learn to live upon the water. In northern Vietnam, thousands of rocky formations rise from emerald green waters like giant sculptures scattered across the sea. Ha Long Bay looks like a traditional Eastern painting, but on a monumental scale. There are more than 1,600 limestone islands and islets shaped over millions of years by wind and water. Some hide caves within, filled with stalactites illuminated by soft beams of natural light. Others are covered in dense vegetation that cascades down to meet the sea. When mist wraps around the formations, the scene takes on an almost mythical atmosphere. Traditional boats glide slowly between the islands, reinforcing the feeling that time flows differently there. The name Halong means descending dragon, inspired by an ancient local legend telling of celestial creatures that helped protect the land by forming these rocks. Halong Bay doesn't feel like just a tourist destination. It feels like a living legend transformed into landscape. Among volcanic islands and astonishingly clear waters lies a place where prehistoric creatures still walk the earth. Komodo National Park is home to the world's largest lizard, the Komodo dragon. Growing up to 3 meters long, these reptiles dominate their environment with slow steps and watchful eyes. Their presence, combined with arid landscapes and golden hills, creates the sensation of witnessing a living chapter of prehistory. But Komodo is not impressive only on land. Beneath the surface, the park reveals one of the richest marine ecosystems on the planet, with vibrant reefs, manta rays, and schools of fish that seem to dance in the currents. The islands combine dry savannas, pale sandy beaches, and even stretches of pink sand, formed by the mixture of red coral fragments with white grains. Komodo doesn't just feel remote, it feels like a wild territory where nature still sets the rules, a reminder that the world holds creatures and landscapes that seem to belong to another era. Imagine a horizon dotted with thousands of ancient temples scattered across a golden plain. That is Bagan in Myanmar, a place where the past seems never to have left. Between the 9th and 13th centuries, more than 10,000 temples, pagodas, and monasteries were built here. Today, around 2,000 still stand, creating a landscape that feels endless. At sunrise, hot air balloons slowly rise above the reddish towers while a soft mist blankets the ground. The architecture blends Buddhist influences with intricately carved details. Inside many temples, ancient murals and Buddha statues remain in silence, enduring the passage of time and the earthquakes that have shaped the region. The contrast between the deep blue sky and the brick structures creates an almost cinematic aesthetic. From the top of one of the temples, the view is hypnotic, a succession of spires stretching as far as the eye can see. Bagan is not just a historic city, it feels like an ancient kingdom frozen in time. A few kilometers from Paris lies a place where luxury was elevated to an almost unimaginable level. The Palace of Versailles is not just a royal residence, it is a material symbol of absolute power. Built in the 17th century and expanded by Louis XIV, the Sun King, the palace became the political center of France for decades. Its halls are adorned with gold, marble, mirrors, and monumental paintings. The famous Hall of Mirrors reflects the light streaming through windows facing the gardens, creating a grand and theatrical atmosphere. Outside, geometric gardens stretch for miles, with choreographed fountains, classical sculptures, and perfectly aligned lakes. Everything was designed to convey order, control, and magnificence. Versailles impresses not only with its scale, but with its intention. Every detail was crafted to demonstrate supremacy and sophistication. It is not just a palace, it feels like a stage where European history was performed with luxury and drama. In the heart of California, a vast valley opens between granite walls that seem carved by giants. Yosemite is defined by its scale. Mountains rise almost vertically, like the famous El Capitan, while waterfalls plunge from dizzying heights. In spring, snowmelt transforms the park into a spectacle of moving water. Falls such as Yosemite Falls appear like silver threads slicing through the air before dissolving into mist. In winter, parts of the landscape are covered in snow, creating a dramatic contrast with the dark rock faces. The valley was shaped by ancient glaciers that sculpted the granite over millions of years. The result is a landscape that feels clean, monumental, and almost minimalist in its grandeur. At sunset, golden light touches the stone walls, making them glow as if set ablaze. Yosemite is not just a natural park. It feels like a temple carved by the Earth's own force. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, thousands of kilometers from any major continent, lies an island that seems to guard a mystery carved in stone. Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui, is famous for its moai, gigantic stone statues with serene expressions and distant gazes. Created by the Rapa Nui people between the 13th and 16th centuries, some of these sculptures stand over 10 meters tall and weigh dozens of tons. To this day, researchers debate how they were transported across long distances without modern technology. Scattered across the volcanic landscape and facing inland, the moai appear to silently watch over the land and its history. At sunset, with the sky painted orange and the ocean wind blowing, the scene takes on an almost mystical atmosphere. Easter Island is not just remote. It feels like a living mystery, a place where ancient questions still echo between sea and sky. South of South Korea, Jeju Island emerges as a paradise shaped by volcanic activity. At its center, Mount Hallasan dominates the landscape, surrounded by lava tunnels and striking craters. One of its highlights is the lava tube cave system, considered among the best preserved in the world. Its dark corridors reveal undulating formations created by flowing magma thousands of years ago. The island blends dramatic cliffs, green fields, and deep blue seas. At certain times of the year, flowers blanket the volcanic fields, creating an almost surreal contrast against the black rock. Jeju is not just a volcanic island. It feels like a natural mosaic where fire and sea work together to create something truly unique. At the southern tip of Argentina, enormous rivers of ice slowly advance between mountains and turquoise-blue lakes. Los Glaciares National Park is home to the famous Perito Moreno Glacier, a massive wall of ice that looks like a frozen fortress. Rising up to 70 meters above the water, the glacier releases deep, cracking sounds before giant blocks break away and crash into the lake below. It's a constant natural spectacle, a reminder that even ice is in motion. The landscape is shaped by Andean peaks, cold forests, and intense winds. The scale feels monumental, almost polar. It doesn't just feel cold, it feels primordial, a place where the earth is still being sculpted before our eyes. Isolated in the Indian Ocean, Aldabra Atoll is one of the largest coral atolls in the world and one of the most pristine. Very few people ever visit this remote place, allowing nature to thrive almost untouched. It is home to the largest population of giant tortoises on the planet, slowly wandering across white beaches and unspoiled mangroves. Crystal clear waters reveal vibrant reefs and abundant marine life. From above, the atoll's circular formation appears drawn with geometric precision, but it was the patient work of corals over thousands of years that created this paradise. Aldabra doesn't just feel distant, it feels like a world preserved in time, where nature still reigns supreme. And so we conclude our journey through 30 places that seem impossible, yet truly exist. From mountains floating in the mist to cities carved into stone, our planet reminds us that reality can be more breathtaking than any fiction. If you enjoyed this journey beyond imagination, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next extraordinary destinations. And now I want to know, where are you watching this video from? Leave your comment and let's keep exploring the world together.